welcome back to the Magpie Channel TV. We're swiftly moving on to the midweek game now. Carabao Cup, Wednesday night, Old Trafford, 8:15, 7,000 Geordies taking over the gaff. We're going to speak to Flex in just a second before I bring him in from the United View, he's obviously a bit down, so take it easy on him, people. Oh, not up to you. Do you know what I mean? But he suffered the Derby Day defeat yesterday. That might have raised our spirits and flattened his for now. But all could change on Wednesday. It's time for revenge for Newcastle in the Carabao Cup, the repeat of last season's final. I can see us all in the chat there already. So we'll jump into what you have got to say. Get your questions in for me and Flex. We'll run through them at the end. But the start of this show is just going to be me and him discussing the game, the fortunes of both clubs. So we're going to dive straight into it once I've done this announcement. As you can see in the top right corner of your screen, it is brought to you by Circle. Hit the QR code, hit the link in the description, download the app. The Millionaire game, easy to play, cheap to play, loads of big prizes to be won. So you can pocket a nice few quid there if you're lucky. Have a look at that one and get involved. Without further ado, let's bring in tonight's guest. It is Flex from the United View. How you doing, mate? What's going on?
What's going on and how am I doing? There's two mad questions right now, bro. Two mad questions right now. Oh, mate, what isn't going on? I ain't great right now, mate. I ain't great. We're a mess. And yeah, we're just shocking at the minute, to be honest. We have been all season, even though we've picked up a few wins and all that.
Because you're only a few points behind us, isn't it? The table
I know, that's what I mean, mate.
The table looks a lot prettier than what the results have been, but me, I've seen these a few times. And the performances haven't been great, but the most important thing is you've been getting the results. But yesterday, was that kind of like a right, we need to start calling it out a bit more moment?
Do you know what? I wasn't surprised that we lost. I mean, obviously, jokingly online, when I'm giving it before the game, I'm like, yeah, we're going to win 2-1. I didn't believe that. Do you know what I mean? I think most people knew Man United would lose that game yesterday, but it was just the manner. Do you know what I mean? But whether or not we lost like in that fashion or not, the inquest as to why we're so bad and the problems that are at Man United, that was there. That was there already. Do you know what I mean? It's no different. It's no different. So there's a lot for Ten Hag to answer for. Obviously, there's big problems at the football club, but Ten Hag's got to start changing things, man. He's got to change it quick.
So that's the case for straight into Wednesday, then mix things up, freshen things up. Do you reckon there'll be a fair few changes, or is Ten Hag going to be stubborn? I mean, he said he's going to play Rashford in every game, didn't he? In the presser the other day.
That's what I mean, bro. That's what I mean. This is a sword he's going to die on if he keeps doing it. I want him to make a lot of changes. You know, I know you guys will talk about you guys in a bit, but I need him to make some changes. Rashford's been terrible. Bruno's been terrible. Højlund's not really scoring, having chances, not being clinical. Anthony's been trash. Isn't even good in general, I don't think. I don't rate him.
A lot of money as well, man.
Loads of money. It's pathetic, honestly. Midfield, he doesn't know his best midfield. He's making mistakes in who he's selecting. Half time, there's always changes because he's undoing what he's done for the starting lineup at half time. Like, it's a mess, bro. And for me, I would make a whole load of changes for me. You know what I mean? I'm looking to bring in some of the young kids. I'm looking to bring in Garnacho. I'm looking to bring in Hannibal. Kobe Mainoo's been out for a long time, but I wouldn't mind bringing him in if I can, but I know I can't expect too much. Martial, I'd start him. Can't be playing Højlund every single game. Casemiro needs minutes coming back from injury. He was nearly going to make the Manchester derby, so I'd imagine he should be ready to play some part in this game. So, yeah, a lot of changes for me, man. I bring back in Varane. Hopefully Wan-Bissaka can play, but he's coming back from injury. So, yeah. And I'll definitely bring in Mason Mount as well. Someone just spoke about Mason Mount. I'll definitely bring him in.
That's a lot of changes, mate. There's a lot of changes.
Mate, I'll change almost the whole thing.
To the manager?
Apart from that.
How long is it going to take, mate? What do you think's the point? Because I know I've seen some Man U fans, Saeed, a good friend of mine and yours, I'm sure, Saeed, he was like, it's time. He's out, get him out. Where are you on it? How much credit does he have in the bank? Because it wasn't so long ago that Man United fans, some of them were saying, the next big thing, Ten Hag, he's won a trophy, he's got to another final, we're in the Champions League again. So how long is it? What's the point where you start to question or look at replacing him?
I just think we have to be really careful with just pulling the trigger on him and replacing him, because honestly, I see why rival fans get annoyed at Man United fans, because it seems like as soon as you lose a game in 90 minutes, they just blame the Glazers. And I'm not for you on a Newcastle channel with how wrong that basic statement is. It's so much bigger than that. You listen, you know about owners, you know about bad owners in Mike Ashley and stuff, but like it is so much bigger than one manager. And there's obviously that famous thing yesterday with Gary Neville and Jamie Carragher. Like they're both right, bro. They're both right. Like Gary Neville's right in terms of saying, well, hang on a minute. Every single person who walks through this door dies. Like it's just a graveyard. It's a deep-rooted systemic problem from the top down to the bottom of Man United, and that's not going to change with the ownership. But Jamie Carragher's completely right as well. You can't just get a free pass. These are players that you're bringing in. These are signers that you're bringing in. These are your tactics, and the players aren't responding. So, but I do think if we went and got De Zerbi tomorrow, yeah, we'll play a bit better football for a little bit. But essentially, the same things will happen because there's a lack of guidance on top of that, you know. And there isn't the structure to do what De Zerbi wants to do and work how Brighton does, which is how they identify their talent, how they bring in their players. It operates completely different. So that's the sad thing about it, is that I can't see a way out. I can't see a way out. But Ten Hag, to answer your question, because no manager gets to just keep losing games. You know what I mean? I just think he'll just tweet her along. Like, so we got smashed off City. We'll go on another couple of games where we hang on, win a couple of them, then we'll get beat. Any good team we play, we lose. We're hanging on against average teams. That's just how it is. But I wouldn't sack him just yet, man. But he is on a thin line because he is making decisions that don't make sense. The one thing he does have though is the board, and I don't think it will take a lot to sack him because there's uncertainty about who's going to own the club, what's going to happen. They know he's got loads of injuries. They'll have to pay him out, pay someone else. The money's not there. So I think he's safe in that sense.
The one thing that I took from the Manchester Derby flex is the lack of effort from Man United, the lack of passion. That would be concerning me way more than anything else at the moment, to be honest with you, because them not turning up in a derby, that's the worst thing as a football fan, isn't it? And that's probably why you're still pissed off now, because not seeing effort in a derby is unacceptable, isn't it? And when you've got Rashford on there, you've got captain Bruno Fernandes, and I say Guimaraes there because I'm not used to seeing his name.
Yeah.
You wish you had Bruno Guimaraes, mate. We got the best Bruno. I'll take it back to KG on that one. We had that argument on your channel before the cup final. What do you think of Roy Keane? You're not saying Bruno should lose the armband, and yeah, because when I looked at it, your scapegoats yesterday, your Maguires and stuff, Onanas, they were probably the best players.
They're the guys. Johnny Evans didn't do anything wrong.
Johnny Evans, 50 next week.
That's it. Exactly, bro. And the thing is even before that, it was McTominay, you know what I mean, scoring a few goals to get us out of trouble, like players that we wanted to sell. And it's the players who are got the new contracts, they've got longevity, they've got, captain's armbands who are not doing it. Do I agree with Roy Keane? The problem is, and this is more of a damning indictment on Man United, who else do you give it to?
Exactly.
That's how bad it is. That's how bad it is that he's getting it off default. Maguire was rightly stripped of it, which actually has done him wonders, really. Let's be honest.
Yeah, pressure off.
Pressure off. I always said we needed to get that off him. Bruno's been a disgrace as the captain. He has. I'm not going to dress it up. I always try and back my players. I always try and support them and hope they can come out of bad moments. But I have to call what I've been seeing. His actions, his quality on the ball, his decision-making, his leadership, they've all been so poor. But Ten Hag can't strip him of the captaincy. One, it undermines himself and makes himself look like an idiot. One, it undermines it. You lose Bruno. You may as well just call it a day then. You're just giving him the captaincy and then, 10 games later, you're taking it off him. And like I said, thirdly, I could literally go for the whole team, bro. Can't give it to Luke Shaw, always injured. Varane, always injured. Martinez, bit of a hothead. He's a bit of a maybe. Wan-Bissaka doesn't talk. Dalot, not good enough, not consistent enough. Casemiro, don't speak English. Up and down. Scott McTominay, not good enough. Mason Mount only just come. Who else is there? Ericsson, quite quiet, in and out the team. Amrabat, low knee. That's 10 players. Can't give it to Rashford, up and down, miserable, sulks, not a leader. Højlund, 20-year-old kid just come. Anthony don't speak English and he's pony. Like who, bro? Who?
Yeah,
I've
it's
literally
not.
just
You'd say like that.
named the whole squad. Oh, Nana. He's too eccentric. You don't want to be giving him the captaincy. He's got enough to deal with his own character, let alone making him captain and putting more on him. Who? I know that Tony says there, Shaw, Varane, and Casemiro, but I've just said the reasons why it can't be them. Can't rely on Casemiro.
Shaw would be a
to
good
play
one,
more than
wouldn't
one
it? If you
game
could
in.
stay fit, Luke Shaw would probably be my only
Yeah,
one.
exactly. And he's not that vocal, but he's just a bit of a steady Eddie, and he's been at the club a long time, but he's injured.
Yeah, maybe when you put it like that, wow,
That's what I'm
there's
saying.
deep problems. Like, there's lots of problems at your club. We've been doing these previews for years, mate, and it was always us with the real problems, and that's kind of swapped a bit. You didn't get your takeover that you wanted by a Middle Eastern, backing. That's a huge blow for you. But Flex going up, we don't want to get into the ownership stuff. I haven't got loads of time. I know you've got a show to do at 7, and I will get into some of the comments in the chat as well before we go. We'll get Flex's prediction and everything else as well. But how serious is Ten Hag going to take this game, Flex? Because you've got a huge couple of games coming up. Champions League away trips, and you have struggled so far in that group. So you've got that. You've obviously you're trying to scrape back in the league. You're 8th at the minute. So where does Ten Hag list this in his priorities? As he's the holders, so you'll want to keep the cup. But how do you think they're feeling in the dressing room at the training ground, and how serious are they going to take it?
He'll definitely take it seriously to the point where I expect him to make changes, but I still expect to see some of the same faces because he's stubborn like that. The likes of Marcus Rashford, the likes of Bruno, they just got immunity, bro. I'll just be honest. They've got immunity. This is true. They just got immunity, bro. Rashford, he said it in the press conference, bro. He said, I believe in him. I know he can do it. And fair play, you're backing your guy. But there comes a point where you got to stop starting him. Like, he keeps taking him off in all the games. So he knows that he's been shit. He keeps taking him off almost every game. He gets subbed off. And it gets earlier each game. But he just will not start him. Like, just give someone else a chance from the start. Same with Bruno. You've got to drop these guys. But I think those two will play. I think Martial will start instead of Højlund. I think Anthony will start. I think Mason Mount will start. I think Bruno, Mount. I think Casemiro will start. I think he should be ready to go. I think Varane will come in with Maguire. Reguilon will come in at left back. And hopefully Wan-Bissaka, if he's fit enough, can start. But he might have to go with Dalot again. And he will start Onana. So he'll take it quite seriously, bro. We're not in a position. The most important thing for Man United now is to get back to winning ways as quickly as possible after a humiliation like that. So and obviously with the holders, so he wants to win every game, Ten Hag. I know it didn't seem like it with his team selection against Man City, but he wants to win every game. He won't just go, I'm just going to play all the kids because this game don't matter. He might not rotate as much as he should because he's quite stubborn like that. So to answer your question, bro, he's going to take it seriously, man. Would
you take Eddie Howe at Newcastle, Flex?
Oh, mate. He's done a really good job at Newcastle. I have to give it to him. He's done a really, really good job. And would I again, without being something snobby, you have to take that out of it, of the name. You know what I mean? It's not a fancy name. He's Eddie Howe. No one thought he would be this good. Would I want him to do the type of job that he's done at Newcastle, at Man United, and get us fighting for the badge, getting us at it every game? You know what I mean? Footballing structure above that, where you're getting the right type of players at the right type of time. You got more money than we do. You know what I mean? I know you can't spend it quite yet because of FFP and stuff, but the longer you stay in the Champions League, the longer you keep being at the top end, you'll get to start spending that money. So I have to say, with how we're playing, how can I turn my nose up to Eddie Howe with the job that he's done? I would want him to come in and do the type of job that he's done at Newcastle. Do I think he could? Listen, Newcastle's a massive club, huge fan base, big football club, huge football club. But as you know, Man United's, it's a different level of scrutiny. It's a different level of operation and lack of at Man United. It's a dire place to be. So I wouldn't even wish that on Eddie Howe. You know what I mean? I hope he stays. You know what I mean? I wish he stays with you guys and he's at the perfect place. He's at the team that understands him. He gets them. You lot are in love with him. Match made in heaven, mate.
Well, he's going to stay here anyways, mate. So if he had said yes, he's not going to come.
Exactly.
Yeah. But he's ready here. Let's have a look at some of the chats that are coming in then, Flex, before we do dive into some score predictions. And there will be a video out on the United View as well, where I went over on Flex's channel there and give my thoughts. I've seen this one from Andy before. I asked you, would you take Howe as manager? Who would you take from Newcastle as a player?
You got a lot, man. He's got too many injuries at the minute, but Alexander Isak, he's just quality, man. He's so good. I'm pissed off we didn't get him when you did. I know Arsenal were looking at him. I really wanted him as well, but we were never really in for him. But he's quality. Bruno Guimaraes, listen, I've had my say of, backing my Bruno and saying no, you know what I mean? We got the real Bruno. There's only one Bruno. Because it hurts. I can't have you guys turning up new guys on the block, buying a new Bruno and saying he's the best Bruno. Now, I'm not having that. My guys, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But with how it is, it's a non-contest with how he's been playing. He's been absolutely disgraceful. Bruno, I'd have at the drop of a hat. I wanted Trips the first time. You know my relationship with Trips as well. He was nearly going to come to United. I do know that. Yeah.
Thankfully, he didn't.
But yeah, exactly. Thankfully for you, he didn't. I would definitely have had him. I have to say, I think even though he's injured now, I think Botman's really good. Really, really solid centre half, man. So good. Good in a tackle, reads the game well. Good distribution. I like him a lot. Anthony Gordon's an interesting one because I think he's made a mistake here. This kid thinks he's better than he is, sort of thing. You know what I mean? It's a lot of money. Was nearly going to go Chelsea for like 60 million, weren't he? But he's really impressed me. And that's down to Eddie Howe as well, kicking him on. I think his game's kicked on. He looks a lot more mature. I'd have him in my squad for sure. It's a lot. Because the way they play, Joe Linton, powerful, strong. Some would call it a failed striker, but mate, do you know what? I had to sit, I could say it now. I had to sit in the home end. Not last season before, because I got a ticket off Jamal Lewis. And he gave us some tickets in your end. And at halftime, bro, when it was 1-1, do you remember when Cavani scored an equalizer?
Mm-hmm.
I stood up and gave Joe Linton a round of applause, mate. He was a beat. Like, that's when I went, he's proper good. What's happened here? Like, he's supposed to be a striker. He wasn't a very good one. Eddie Howe turned him into an 8. And he just has the attributes. So I'd have him in my squad all day.
I think that's when Sky Sports were interviewing him after the game. And
and Sean Longstaff was like, gets disrespected, mate.
He was like, Joe Linton, I'll be honest with you, I didn't think you were that good. The interviewer said that.
Do you know what? Exactly. Do you know what? Yeah. I'll tell you this as well, just from conversations. Because we was with Jamal before we went to that game. And I was asking him about training and that. At the time, he still had Shelby there. He had Joe Willock there. Obviously, he's pretty much the same team apart from a couple. And he said, bro, in training, he is unplayable. Like, you can't get the ball off him. He's so strong. And he was like, wait till tonight. I said, you can't be playing him centre mid against us, bro. You could do that against them other teams. You can't do that against us. He goes, all right, watch what he does tonight. And he's unbelievable. He's strong, powerful. You can't get near him.
Nah, mate, you see something else. Like, hopefully he'll be. He's just been come back from injury, so he hasn't quite been 100%. But hopefully he'll be ready. John was talking here about madness that Tino doesn't get a start and Hall 70 million on the bench and barely get used. This is what I was talking about after the Wolves draw. And I've said it in my BBC article this week, which will be out on BBC Sport tomorrow, people, so check that out, where I'm saying it's time to hit the refresh button on Wednesday night. A bit like what Flex is saying. I think it's time to give certain players a rest. Your Trippiers, your Dan Burns, who are getting run into the ground, and who else more perfect to bring in than these two young fullbacks that we've spent a lot of money on, or even bring in Matty Target and play Hall somewhere else in midfield or further forward. So hopefully we'll see Livramento play. He started the last round of the Carabao Cup in that City win, and he was man the match. So for me, I'd bring in your likes of your Tinos, Hall, maybe start Willock, And I'd even start Dubravka on Wednesday night. I'd give Dubravka a chance after a mistake from Pope on the weekend. And again, just to refresh him. Maybe Pope's punching instead of throwing because he's a bit knackered as well. Do you know these players are playing a lot of games that they're not used to? So I think it's a great
You need
opportunity
to, man.
to freshen them up,
I
man.
think you need to. I'm trying to think of it from a Newcastle fan's perspective, and I know that like obviously you want revenge for the Carabao Cup final, and also like you said, Eddie Howe, he wants to win a trophy. Like you said, Kevin Keegan couldn't do it, so Bobby couldn't do it for you. Like you want him to win something, but I do feel like you have to kind of align your perception, like because you're in the big league now, bro. Like, and you deserve to be there, and you have to balance your squad. I know you haven't won a trophy in so long. How long is it?
Oh, mate, 56 years or something. People let us know in the chat exactly, but it's nearly 60 years, I'm sure.
What, since you won one trophy?
So, like a major honour, yeah. Won the championship a few years ago. We'll not count that.
But
No, it was like the Fairs Cup in 1969 was the last one we won, which is basically like the Europa League now. That's what the Europa League is now, which we won in 69.
Yeah, so fair enough. I didn't realize it was that long, so I can see why you're desperate to get your hands on something, but it shouldn't be at the detriment of rinsing your squad. Like you've got Arsenal on the weekend, like that's a huge game. Then you have to go away to Dortmund. That's a huge game. Do you know what I mean? Massive, massive games. Like there you go, Ricky D. There, he says it right. It's effectively like a knockout game. You got to do it. So. Yeah, I think you have to make changes, man. You have to, and you've got so many injuries as well. You know what I mean?
Exactly, mate. It's one of those ones where we can make the changes at the back, but we're saying on the United View on your channel that it's basically going to have to be a strong front three again because of the lack of depth. There's only Wilson now a recognised striker, and then Murphy's out now, who would have came in. Obviously, there's still no Harvey Barnes, so it's going to be interesting to see how many changes are made. But no matter what the score is, Flex, we'll be linking up on Wednesday night. I'll see you at full-time fan cams on your channel, fan cams on my channel. It should be a tasty one, mate. I'm looking forward to going to Old Trafford. 7,000 Geordies. Does that worry you? Could they have an impact on the game?
Of course they can, mate. Mate, away fans been coming and clowning us all week, all year. Even the games we've won, they've clowned us because it's been close and we've won it in the last second or some bullshit like that, bro. So I forgot the allocation's bigger in the FA Cup and the Carabao Cup, and you don't want that on a Wednesday night. 8,000 Geordies because you'll be along the side probably, and then the top of the East Stand you'll be. Not great, mate, because I mean they're going to get behind the team. They're going to be loud, and Old Trafford right now is very flat, bro. Very flat. I mean, when the players come out, yeah, we give it and that, but as soon as it kicks off, the players aren't giving us anything to kind of get behind them, and we're not that type of fan base where. Even though it's quiet, we'll still get behind them, and it's like it's going to be dead as a doornail, mate. So if you start well and put a bit of pressure on us and ask big questions of us, it will creep into the atmosphere, and all you will hear will be the Geordies, mate.
I think honestly, and it's such a cliche in football, the first goal is so important, but in this game, because of the crowd, I think it really is. Because if we get the first, I wouldn't be surprised if we score 2 or 3 and win. But if you get the first and we're having to chase it, and then we may get caught out, and it could be so it could be a bit sticky, that one. But Flex, prediction for the game before we sign out.
I'm gonna go with a draw in 90 minutes, and then we win on penalties.
Oh, that's exactly my prediction as well.
Yeah,
I reckon 1-1. It's tough without seeing the teams, without seeing the starting lineups, how many changes will be made. But I reckon a 1-1 and then Newcastle win on pens.
If it ain't that, I probably would go with like a slender 1-0, like just nick it. You know what I mean? Because I think you will have to make a lot of changes. Then at a certain time, Howe's probably going to have to get those players off as well, or they might start to tire one or the other because they've had such a big run of games. So I think, and it's not going to be your main team, so I think that can help us a little bit. So I think someone might make a mistake or take their eye off the ball and we'll just nick it if it isn't the 1-1.
I think we'll probably start strong, get the goal, and we will tire. Probably with 10, 20, 30 minutes to go. We'll probably miss a couple of chances off the bloody bar again, like Dortmund, and then you'll get back into it. But listen, let's hope it's a good game, mate. The two big teams, two teams with a lot of history against each other. So let's hope that it's an entertaining one at least, mate. I look forward to seeing you on Wednesday anyways, bro.
Thank you, bro. Thanks for having me on, man. Appreciate it, man.
Pleasure, mate. Everyone go check out Flex's channel, United Views, in the title. It's in the subscription as well. Cheers, everyone, for tuning in. Make sure you give this one a like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one.